I want to talk about goth knitting. Why is no one talking about goth knitting? Hey, I'm Jack Noke, Jack in the Attic. I watch a lot of Fiber Arts YouTube. I see a decent amount of crochet content aimed at people with alternative wardrobes. I see some pattern collection videos for goth and alt wardrobes in general, but I don't, at least I can't find similar videos for knitting. And someone probably said, be the YouTube video you want to see in the world. They probably didn't say that. I'm saying it. This video will be a compilation of specific patterns, but I want to add a caveat that this is meant to be broader inspiration than that. I think there's a lot to do with layering, with accessorizing, all of that. And I do not speak for the Gothic subculture. I do not speak for knitters. I am an authority on exactly zero things. Obviously, it's a music-based subculture, not a knitting-based subculture. This is just where my interests overlap. And so this is what I want to talk about. There's obviously no one way to dress goth, to dress alternative. I just want to share some ideas for people in a similar situation to me. Knitters whose wardrobes or interests lean in that direction. And if you want to craft in a way that like aligns with your interests, that's where I am. Maybe that's where you are too. So again, we'll go over specific patterns, but I do want this to be like a general overview of concepts, types of garments, ways you can alter things, and a reminder that you can knit anything in black with the proper lighting. I know some people have fancy neck lights that have like the two bulbs at the end that you can control separately. There are so many different products you can use for Fiber Arts in the dark that are meant for that, but what I use is actually tucked into my knitting themed murder mystery book right now. It is a book light. This is like maybe the cheapest option. It is a book light so it doesn't go around your neck. I often tuck it into whatever I'm wearing. Does it look silly? Yeah, it looks really silly, but it works really well. So do not make fun of me unless you want to. You may have also seen me tuck this into my headphones or a headband. I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying I do it. I see memes all the time about like how impossible it is to knit or crochet with black yarn, and maybe I'm biased, but I just think that isn't true. Your lighting is just bad. So find a cheap little light, get a fancy expensive light, do whatever you want, but get your lighting correct or you will need to wear glasses for the rest of the video like I do. Let's get started. So we are going to be going over different categories of garments, but we're going to be focusing on interesting textures, interesting shapes. We're going to see a lot of mesh, a lot of lace, a lot of fun sleeves, dramatic sleeves. You can add a dramatic sleeve to anything. I want to talk about that later. Just kidding, let's talk about that now. So DIY has always been at the core of many alternative subcultures. Knitting is as DIY as you can get, like by definition, but you can make alterations on that even further. If you find a top you like and you want to add a dramatic sleeve, you add a dramatic sleeve. If you want to add duplicate stitching or embroidery, there are an infinite number of ways that you can customize something that you are already making by hand. So let's get into our first category, which is tops. God, the number of tabs I have open right now. So our first top is the Black Bat top by Ariana Frasca. This is a DK weight pullover with a cutout and a ruffle detail. I think it's so cute. I would love to make one of these. I just realized that the pattern includes a dress version as well. So remember this when we circle back to the dress section. So a few details I really love about this are not only the cutout and the little ruffle detail, but the shape of the sleeves is really nice. It has a little bit of a puff sleeve. The next pattern we're looking at is the Sukmun sweater by, I am going to mispronounce that. I'll put it on screen. So this looks like a lightweight pullover in a semi-sheer stripe, which is fun. So this is kind of a statement piece on its own, but subtle. So I think it could be used as layering, for layering as well. Also the Dream Weft sweater. This is a dramatic mesh. I love this mesh. I also really like the shaping of the shoulders. The yarn it recommends is a wool and cotton blend, so lighter and airier for the summer. Of course it is mesh, so you kind of can't go wrong. There's no shortage of colorwork pieces with different designs. This is one of my favorites. This is The Possibility of Crows by Harper B. So this is a cardigan with a large detailed colorwork piece on the back with a crow skull and some moons. This is maybe above my skill level. I would love to try it though. We also have the NYX hoodie by Morph Knitwear. The NYX hoodie is not only mesh, but it is drapey. It has, I believe, an asymmetrical hem. It is open, knit, and distressed. A lot of elements that I like. Next is the meshed up hoodie, which is also mesh and a hoodie, but this one is closed in the front. It looks like it has a tie for the hood, and this is worsted weight and mesh, so this would work up so quickly. Another mesh piece is this one by Drops. This is the 8216 pullover. It kind of reminds me of, if this is a vertical stripe version, this is like a horizontal stripe version of this, which is the Partition pullover by James N. Watts, the one I wear all the time. So I should have included that. This is the Partition pullover by James N. Watts. But anyway, 8216 pullover. But it's definitely shaped a little bit different. It looks like it has side slits. It's much longer and has side slits, which is very cool. Okay, this is the Elfin Bride by Jennifer Stafford. The sleeves, oh my goodness, the details of this piece are incredible. I'm just staring at it, sorry. So the sleeves, the seams, the shaping, everything. I love this piece. I would love to make this. So those are just some examples of tops. Obviously there are many more basic tops that you can use for layering, or you can alter to fit your vision. Next we're going to move on to hand and arm accessories. Arm warmers and fingerless gloves, fingerless mitts are pretty classic. I just gathered a couple of examples to show you. First we have the Wool of Bat mitts by iCast Mending on Etsy. I love the wrist detail on these. It is a bit like a bat wing. I also like the little eyelets. I bet these would work up very quickly. It is in light fingering, but it's just a little piece. These are so cute. Okay, I might have to make these, like, immediately. We also have the Narcissa gloves, which are long past the elbow fingerless gloves. It looks like it might not be available anymore. What I would recommend instead would be maybe the Smith's gloves and just lengthen those quite a bit. I do intend to make a pair of Smith's gloves for myself, and the idea to make them even longer, I love. More classic mesh, we have these Summer Goth mitts. They're exactly what they say they are. They are a very open mesh, perfect for the warmer months. I bet these would work up very quickly as well. The recommended yarn is Holstgarn Coast, which I happen to have one tiny cake of that needs a project. This might be the one. Our next category is legwear, meaning socks, stockings. Everyone loves a like chunky, witchy, striped sock moment, but you can also knit some really lovely detailed lace and mesh socks. So I have a couple of examples of those as well. We have Trip the Light Fantastic by Kate Poe. What a name. But these are beautiful mesh with this nice lacy cuff detail. This is free pattern. It looks like it was published somewhere else, but it does have a free Ravelry download. And also in a mesh kind of lacy texture, we have the Adele stockings, but these are like diagonal. It looks like it was published in something called Sensual Knits, so love that. That's fun. Sorry, I heard the cat yelling. She's here now. Do not drink my coffee. Don't even think about it. We were talking about the Adele stockings. I'm never gonna get through this section. Which are a lacy mesh textured stocking with a diagonal stripe pattern. Those are just some examples of something that is not a basic striped sock, which is, I think, the other category of socks that I would go for would be textured or striped. Our next category is all other types of accessories. So we have a couple of collars. We have a capelet, I believe. Let's look at some collars. This is the Vampire Kiss collar. This has some interesting texture to it, as well as buttoning in the front, which is a nice detail. We also have the Amelia lace choker, which laces with a ribbon. Both of those are very dramatic. I think the Vampire Kiss might even be a nice winter accessory. Another winter accessory would be this Victorian style ruffled cape. This capelet buttons down the front, has a nice ruffle detail at the bottom. This one is just called the corset belt. This also has some nice texture details and lacing in the back. We also have the parquet underbust corset. This is a larger piece. This may actually have boning. This does include boning, so this laces up the back as well. And then there are also some, like a ton of lacy shawls, things of that nature. I wanted to pull up something a little bit different shaped, which is this Gothic Spires scarf, which is lovely. I am so intimidated by this piece, but it is beautiful. Next, we're going to talk about outerwear. Some of the tops from earlier are technically outerwear, but can be worn as like standalone pieces, as tops, really. So this is more traditional outerwear. Not traditional in the traditional sense, but you know what I mean. So this cropped sweater, the Nore cropped sweater, has such an interesting shape. I think for the maybe business casual goths or the more minimalist goths for winter, this would be a very neat piece. It has a little bit of a puff sleeve as well as a high collar, so I love those details. Next we have this lovely lace cardigan that I will mispronounce. I really just love the lace detailing about this. I think belted, the bottom would be nice and ruffly. Just a nice layering piece. It looks to be pretty lightweight, so it might be good for the spring and early fall. We also have the Koran cardigan. This is a basic shaped cardigan, but it's mesh. I love this. I feel like you could use this for a lot of different things. This one's again maybe more leaning towards the business casual or more minimalist, like office goths. Next we have this bed jacket, which has so many cool details. So this has a large shawl collar, it has a tie at the waist, it has the interesting details at the cuff and at the hem and around the collar. This is a little bit of an intimidating knit for me, but ooh, someday. Along that same line of nightwear worn as daywear, we have the dressing gown. Now this is the most intimidating knit I have ever seen. It is a full-length robe. It is dramatic. It has incredible details. Again, a large shawl collar and a lace detail around the entire thing. This is a dream piece for me. Will I ever make this? Who knows? The amount of yarn this would take. To scale it back a little bit, but still with a lot of fun details, we have the Free Spirit petticoat. It is not a petticoat like under a skirt or dress petticoat, but it looks like a vest with ruffles around the bottom, a long vest with ruffles around the bottom. So this would be a great layering piece. I love the ruffle details. And I think with it being a vest and therefore sleeveless, it's kind of less commitment to it being a singular statement piece. You can layer under things underneath or on top of it. And next, I do want to talk about bottoms, skirts and pants specifically. Everyone knows you can knit sweaters and tops and t-shirts and all of that, but I so rarely see knit skirts and pants. I am currently knitting these pants right here in black. There's nothing particularly alternative about them at all, but they're going to be a good staple basic piece for anything. I also intend to add a cuff at the bottom with a sort of hidden drawstring so that I can turn them into a kind of bloomer inspired pair of pants. I love a modern piece with some historical details, such as the bed jacket. For these pants, you could also make them significantly longer, like floor length with the wide legs. That's fun. For skirts, we have many options as far as shape and length and details. Here are just a few of the patterns I found. So this skirt is in a collection of flamenco-inspired knits, which I think is so cool. But the skirt itself is a nice fitted skirt with a ruffle detail. Lace ruffles at the bottom, very pretty. We also have sort of a classic mini skirt with a little slit. This you could also alter the length of, but this would be a good staple piece. This with one of the socks we looked at earlier. That's a look. I also really love this peekaboo maxi skirt. It has a mesh panel at the bottom, which I think is so neat. It adds just a little bit of a fun detail to something that is otherwise a basic piece. In addition to skirts, I also have a few dresses on this list. I am about to start knitting a dress that is just solid black to use as a basic layering piece. So that is always an option. There are also full lace dresses. So the basic dress I'm knitting is the Hylia dress. But I also found this Lola dress that has a really cool ruffle detail on the shoulders, as well as the button placket in the front. This looks very like breezy and airy. This would be a very nice summer piece, I believe. And it doesn't hurt that the sample is knit in black. That helps. We also have this full lace dress that is maybe called the Stezka, not sure. But this is, it looks like kind of a basic shape, the A-line tank dress, but entirely lace. And the pattern recommends a linen yarn as well, so this piece for the summer would be incredibly light and breathable. I know anyone who wears black year-round gets a lot of questions about how do you not melt in the summer, and the answer is I do, first of all, and then lace, mesh, linen, and cotton. Those are my answers. If you have other suggestions, please let me know. So I hope this list helps, kind of as a starting point, some inspiration for how you can combine and layer things and add details to basic pieces and see the dark potential in patterns that were never meant to be goth. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're going to try any of these patterns. I will link all of the patterns below. Hopefully some of these or general ideas help you on your way to create your dream knit wardrobe. So go and live your best yarny life, and I will see you next time. Bye.